So hello everyone, and welcome to A2NewTech. How many of you have been to A2NewTech in the past before? Okay, sweet. Not quite everyone, but a lot of people. So our basic format is we have five, or in this week's case, four companies come up and present about their company for 5 minutes, do a pitch. Then there's a community Q&A for 5 minutes. And so the whole idea is sort of twofold, letting young up-and-coming companies sort of let the community know that they exist, and then also let people who have been part of the startup community for a while grill those people on business fundamentals, making sure that we're creating sustainable businesses and not just trying to flip our business to Facebook. Okay, let's see here. There's a whole bunch of announcements, but I don't want to delay too much. Oh yeah, Sean, I guess you're up first. So if you wanna get set up, let's see here. Oh yeah, and thanks to our sponsors, A2Geeks, it's a sort of umbrella organization that puts on a lot of these cool startup events across Ann Arbor. You can find out more at a2geeks.org. And thanks also to the Zell Lurie Institute for giving us use of the space for the entire year, actually. Okay, and so this is Sean Simpson from Autobike.
How's it going, guys? I'm just going to walk you through a little bit about my company, Autobike. We were founded in January 2011, started work on it then, and sort of picking up speed about August, September of last year. So far, we've been self-funded, and then we've gotten some different loans to kind of help us keep going. Basically, think of our product as an automatic transmission for a car, except put on a bicycle, and kind of expanded from there. So the premise is that gear shifting is not for everyone. For a lot of people that just want to get on and ride a bike, it can be noisy and clunky, especially shifting under load. Changing gears often is kind of a reactionary occurrence. So you're riding along there, all of a sudden you're pedaling too fast, or it's too hard to pedal, and then you change gears. So you're sort of minimizing your discomfort versus what we think we're doing is maximizing your comfort. And it also has limited capabilities. I mean, our system, as I'll explain, can just do things that are just not possible to do with a manual transmission bike. So as far as the market goes, the U.S. bike market is huge, but it's subdivided into sort of bikes that you find at like Walmart. Then the next step would be like the chain sporting goods, would be like Dick's, REI, and then where we fall would be more towards the specialty end, which doesn't account for as many of the units, but accounts for a large sum of the dollars. So people are paying more for differentiated bikes, not just let's go to Walmart and get whatever bike we can. So to attack it, we're going to start with going after bike segments that are most sort of in line with our technology, which is providing sort of this maximum comfort ride. So we're looking at kind of cruiser bikes, comfort bikes, people not competition type riding, people who want to get on a bike, have fun, get from A to B. How our product actually works is we're basically using an embedded controller that takes into account a couple different sensors: pedal speed, rear hub speed. It's got an accelerometer on board, and kind of defines the operating environment. So how are you riding? How fast are you going? Uphill, downhill? Figures out what the most appropriate gear ratio is, and then using a CVT transmission actually allows you to stay within that perfect gear ratio at all times. So you're literally, you go on a ride for a minute, you might be in 300 or 400 different distinct gear ratios throughout that entire ride, but not really feel any of those shifts. So I have the bike here, so we'll do a demo afterwards. I can zoom through that. So basically, what does it do? It gets rid of noisy, harsh, clunky shifts because we can shift under load. We're using a CVT, so each ratio step is so small that it's almost imperceptible. Instead of having only 18 speeds, 21 speeds, where people might use 3 or 4 of those, we're using essentially an infinite number of gears between a range, and it automatically selects that right gear. So back in October 2001, we started with sort of this ugly-looking bike that was like, can we, get this sort of ride that we want using off-the-shelf components? And we took that and said, okay, now can we using like an actual production intent system, so speed sensor stuff that we were using speed sensors that were $400 or $500. Now we're using speed sensor that might be $3 or $4. So the Alpha Plus was like, can we cost effectively provide this ride? And then what we've just finished up recently is a beta, which is, can we take that sort of, you see the kind of packaging with the development controller and offset shifting system, and make it into a clean looking bike so that the bike looks as simple as the bike is to ride, but has all this additional capability built in. So here's just a couple of production renders we have of the first 2 bikes that we're going to have for sale starting in September. There's some competition. Most of the competition right now is based on like manually or mechanically controlled automatic systems. So there's a Land Rider bike right now that sells more than 100,000 units for the last 7-8 years, and have kind of been off the map in terms of at bike shops. They literally just sell directly, and they've been doing well, but they really haven't changed anything. And it's only 7 gears, and the ride's really harsh because literally it's a derailleur system that will automatically change gears at certain operating points, and you don't have a warning, and the ratios are significant enough that they're kind of shocking and really kind of clunky. How we're going to actually try to reach the customers, not through like the typical sales channel, which would be through selling to bike shops and whatnot. We found that Land Rider was able to reach the target customer that they want, that's interested in the product, and and actually get those people to buy directly versus going through a bike shop where you kind of have some agency problems, at least with that type of product. This just goes in a little bit. What we're trying to do is basically get as many components that already exist, minimize the parts that were designed that are custom to us, and then providing an entire bicycle to the customer. Starting, we're actually probably the next week or so, we're going to go to a bunch of different bike events and have 10 of our beta bicycles and get as many people on the bike, because the riding experience is really the differentiating part of it, and really is, it's awesome. And anyone who wants to ride afterwards, come see me. I'll just hang out in one of the areas, and then I've got it strapped to that's my car right now. So I won't go into team stuff, but basically where we're at right now is we're going to finish up our production design. We're going to raise money to buy about 1,000 or so bikes, and then we're going to start selling them in September. So thanks for your time.
All right, I've never seen someone so spot on with the time before. That was amazing. Okay, so now we have 5 minutes of Q&A. I have a bunch of questions myself. I'm sure that you guys do too. So I guess we'll start with Steve.
What exactly was your patent for?
The patent is a system and method for controlling. So basically using the subset of sensors that we're using, basically creating that operating environment to know uphill, downhill, and then using that information to determine the proper gear ratio. So it starts as a system and method like that.
Okay.
Yes.
2 questions. 1, how much weight does it add? And 2, are you looking at a bolt-on for other bikes as well?
As far as weight goes, it's a delta from, like, you take just a regular bike and then put the system on there. So you're taking out derailleur shifters, that kind of stuff. Delta would be like 1 to 2 pounds. We're looking at doing a bolt-on. The problem is, initially it's sort of this, we're going after this market that's like, people that just want to get on a bike and ride. It's sort of, we think, selling a bolt-on kit where they then have to have a wheel bill. There's just a lot of additional kind of steps that would need to be taken. Plus, making everyone's bikes different, so having a bolt-on solution means you kind of have to have everything be real universal, and then it kind of loses that kind of clean look. So we're thinking about doing something like that in the future, but to start, we wanted just to have this super clean looking bike that kind of represents the ride, both in looks and in function.
This question way over there.
Yes.
One is what's your price point, and second, is this for the casual rider or for performance rider or both?
It's definitely for the casual recreational type rider. Price point, we're looking between $500 and $700 depending on different options that we have. Yes.
If the battery dies, does it not work at all, or does it still work in some way?
We use a front hub dyno on it, so it self-charges, so you never have to worry about plugging in and anything like that. Our beta bikes, you have to plug in because we don't have that capability in it yet, but for the production bike, you just get on and ride it, it'll recharge itself.
What happens if it does die?
If the battery dies,
Yeah.
it's just an off-the-shelf type like RC battery pack, so you can just, if you killed it, if the regen stopped working and you ran it so low that you damaged the cells, you can just swap a new one in there and go on your way.
It's not
Well,
like
like what if it dies like while you're riding it? I mean.
You would just be in the same gear ratio that you ended in. So.
It's not like the Tesla Roadster runs out of batteries and just breaks.
No, you can't break.
Yeah.
You can't break this control on this bike.
Yeah, it's great. All right. I guess I just want to hop into one question. I kind of want to hear about more about you and your team. So who are you guys? Are you recent graduates? Are you mechanical engineers?
I'm a mechanical engineering background. One of the other guys is too. Then we have a professor from OU's like doing all the embedded control stuff, both from hardware and software side. And then we've got like a finance mostly engineers.
Okay. Sorry. Okay.
That's more of a detailed question. Can you set the cadence that you desire?
Yeah, you could actually program it to do, like, so if you have a specific cadence, or as you ride, going uphill, you might have a different cadence that you like, you can program all that stuff. So there's going to be an easy way, which is right on the controller, or there's actually a more complex way where we have Bluetooth capability on the bike where you can link up with your phone, use our app, and actually tailor that ride exactly how you want it. So it's as simple or as complex as the rider wants to make it.
Thanks.
Yes.
How are you sourcing parts, and how complicated is that?
That's probably one of the more complicated parts. We had a lot of bike industry contacts. One of the guys on our advisory board was the former president of Trek, or of Giant and Schwing. So he's helped us out with a lot of sourcing for like the bicycle components. We're going to buy a lot of the components and then assemble in Michigan. So yeah, it's some of the PCB and that kind of stuff. There's a lot of local stuff we can use, but for the actual bike frames, there's actually not a lot of high volume U.S. Bicycle builders. So that's been a tough part. But there's actually more. There's one coming to Detroit right now that says they're going to build 100 bikes a day, so that there'll be more options for local sourcing for the frames and stuff too.
Current Motors certainly assembles their bullpen frames here in Michigan, so I don't know. I guess that's a one data point.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot higher price point.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Let's see here. Okay, I have one more question for you. Yeah, so I'm really curious. It sounds like you guys have done a bunch of the engineering work, and I cannot wait to ride the bike after this presentation. So then you touched a little bit on how you're going to distribute these things. It doesn't sound like you're going to with channel partners, you're going to sell it yourself. So you have an idea for like crazy marketing promotions, or how are you going to get the word out there?
We want to try to work with a lot of bicycle rental companies where we basically kind of give away bikes, and that's like a good chance for people with no obligation to ride the bike. And since it is such a unique riding experience, I think it'll resonate. People, tell their friends, that kind of stuff. So a lot like guerrilla marketing.
Yeah, sounds awesome. All right, well, if you have questions afterwards, I think we'll all be sticking around. So thanks so much, Sean.
Cool, thank you.
Look up to the projector. There's actually way more community announcements than usual, so I guess now would be a good time to do that. Are there any area technology events that people want to announce, or things that are related to the startup community that you want to share with everyone? No? All right, I have a bunch of them. Do people know about the Lean Startup Conference that's going on in Grand Rapids on Thursday? If you are doing a web development company and you're sort of unfamiliar with the idea of like Steve Blank, Lean Startup Circle, that sort of thing, you should really check out this conference. It's going to be awesome. I believe they have Steve Blank coming. They also have Dan Martell, a couple other advisors from the Valley, to sort of discuss about how to quickly get your business off the ground, that sort of thing. It's this Thursday. You can Google it. Also coming
There are
up,
limited tickets though, so it's
Yeah.
entirely possible they're sold out. Tickets are $125. They weren't sold out last time I checked for the one-day pass. They might be now.
there's a bus going from Ann Arbor to Grand Rapids as well.
Yeah, and there's a workshop on Friday, that's probably.
Those are sold out.
Those are
yeah.
all sold out already.
I think the conference itself might still have tickets though. Other things to check out: the Ann Arbor Mini Maker Fair is coming up Saturday, June 2nd. It is probably one of the highlight events for me in Ann Arbor. Basically, all the makers that live in Ann Arbor come out and show people what they've been working on. It's a great event for families. There's also stuff for kids to do, that sort of thing. Let's see here. Any other really important things?
I got one.
Oh yeah, go for it.
All right, if Lean Startup Conference or going to Grand Rapids isn't your thing Thursday, there is a group called Grow Detroit, and it's basically like a grassroots collective of web startup entrepreneurs, and they're having an event in Detroit on Thursday that's free to come, and I think Thursday's event is basically going to be a show up and drink beer and talk event. Usually we have like someone presenting or something, but Google Grow Detroit if you're interested in that.
Yeah, and also I know that it's advertised on the Hackers and Hustlers Facebook group, which is a great way to connect with all the other entrepreneurs that are not just in Michigan, but also East Lansing, Detroit, even I think like Plymouth and Livonia and stuff like that. Okay, so I've delayed long enough. Up next is Search GSA, and presenting is David and Guitarra.
How's everybody doing tonight? Appreciate y'all coming out tonight. It's a little bit late. I know you're probably all waiting on dinner, so we won't take too much of your time. My name is David Hardcastle. This is Kentara Roy. Kentara and I are actually about 14 months into a startup web marketing firm. We do search engine optimization and website design along with some other things. And what I'm actually going to go do is tell you a little bit about where Search GSA come from, because it actually came out of some of our work with our marketing firm that we run together. So the idea originated when we were, as a web marketing firm, as many of you may know, there are a lot of us out there. And so we're always looking for new ways to kind of separate ourselves from other web marketing firms. And so we've been searching for new markets to enter that don't have the penetration that some of the local markets do in terms of our business. So one of the things that we were able to do is actually had this idea of searching through and looking for contractors who work for the government. And so as a way to do that, we actually started using a website called GSA Advantage, which is a government-run website. It's basically if you are a private contractor and you have a price list to try to get work from the government, you're able to post your list on there, and then government agencies who need to hire you should be able to find you. And so we were trying to use that public database to find companies with similar interests to some of the companies we work for in our current markets to get into. And what we found out is that GSA Advantage site was really poor. We weren't able to find anything on there that we really wanted to. We had a really bad experience. And as we started doing a little bit more research, we discovered very quickly that this is a very common problem, and this is a need that wasn't being met. This $250 million government website, surprise, surprise, wasn't efficient at connecting the people that needed to be connected. And so what we did is we built our own custom search engine using Google tools to access that public database and to be able to do those searching much more efficiently and to make those connections. So I'm going to let Katara say a little bit about what that is.
So like David said, GSA Advantage was a $250 million website, and the primary use for this site is the search functionality. So if you're an acquisition worker working for the federal government, primarily for the GSA, which handles most of the acquisitions, you go to GSA Advantage and you would type in what you want. A very common search that these acquisition workers make is a service or product and an estate. Because if a military base in Virginia is looking for electrical engineers, then as a government contracting officer, I would go to GSA Advantage and say, okay, I need an electrical engineer in Virginia. We performed this search, and the first result that we got was a subscription company for like magazines and things like that, and they're actually based in North Carolina. So this is kind of an example of the kind of results that the GSA Advantage returns based on the queries that you're entering. On our tool that we built, Search GSA, which is a free tool that's powered by Google technology, if you search for electrical engineer in Virginia, all the results that are displayed are highly relevant, primarily because the whole querying and results displaying processes using Google's technology. The value in this naturally is to the users that work for the federal government, primarily contracting specialists at the General Services Administration. However, there is also a very big benefit to taxpayers. We did some math, and the sources for this is available at searchgsa.com/about. But we estimated that at least $126 million every year spent by government workers searching for government contractors in GSA Advantage. If we took all of those contracting specialists and moved them to Search GSA, then we basically make everyone work 10 times more efficiently, so the taxpayer money savings ends up being over $110 million per year. Again, here's some of the data that we pulled. This is all data that the GSA has published, and again, more details available at searchgsa.com/about.
Basically what we're doing is we're trying, this is kind of an offshoot to our main business, what pays the bills, but we're looking at ways to really grow the user base. We want to get more and more government workers to be able to find out about this. So some of the things we're doing is we're trying to create some brand recognition for the product using social media, which has been, through the first 2 weeks, has been pretty successful, I'd say, based on our analytics. We're also looking at trying to reach out to local and national level politicians to see if they can create some awareness for this using our PR firm. And we're also looking at opportunities where we might be able to get this directly in front of GSA and federal government employees. But really what we're here tonight for, and we want to come to you guys and ask a question is this an idea that's, we think it's a good idea, but we're not sure. We wanted to reach out to you and kind of see what you thought, and maybe if you had ideas on how to create more awareness for this, how to help us build that user base. And at that point, we're ready to turn it over to questions.
I think one back on your what is the value slide, One thing you want to be aware of, you live with the numbers, but pay attention to how the numbers line up. Because if you have 16 million to the left of 126 million, the casual observer not paying attention is going to go, oh, it's only like 10 million. Make sure the numbers line up so you can see, or use something simple like a visualization, a simple pie chart so you can see the magnitude of it. Because part of what you're doing right now is trying to sell the value. You need to make it clear and quick to see.
We actually have a nice infographic. We weren't sure of the presentation style before we got here tonight. Otherwise, we probably used our infographic, which is very visual in terms of helping show that. But yeah, that's great for the PowerPoint presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
So your studies estimates how much time savings the government employees get. Does it also measure if they notice?
I'm
I
sorry.
mean, is this real to them?
I'm sorry, if they notice.
That they're saving the time? I mean,
So with Search
does
GSA,
it really impact their lives, their work?
a lot of employees' only job in the federal government is to be a contracting specialist to source these suppliers that are in the private sector for government projects. So for those employees, yes, it would make a very large impact. There are some other employees that use GSA Advantage on and off. I mean, so there's a wide range of employees that this would certainly save a lot of time with. But primarily, it would make a large impact with the contracting specialists that actually do all the sourcing all day long.
The other thing we know that there is some real reality to this is that there's another government website where agencies are able to post wanted ads when they get fed up with GSA Advantage and they want to just say, hey, look, this is what I need. Somebody come find me. So there's what 1,200 of those a month that are posted by government employees. So that was one of the things that helped to identify this is, hey, look, this is something that isn't performing the way it is because of those wanted ads. And I think that's kind of helpful in that way too. Yes, back.
How many GSA acquisition specialists did you talk to in order to develop this?
We have, so actually on Search GSA, we have created some refinements to help make the searching process easier. We've talked to at least a dozen contracting specialists at the GSA to help make sure that this product is going to be as useful as possible for those employees.
They're involved with the design of the search tool. Yes, in the yellow.
Are there GSA contractor trade shows?
We think so. That's one of the things we're actually working
Kind of going from the other direction. Find the people that are already contracting because they already know a GSA placement specialist because they're the person that called them, right? That might be a way too, from every angle.
Thank you, yes. And actually all the information for the contracting specialist is public data, so we have considered reaching out to these people when they post a wanted ad for a service they couldn't find on GSA Advantage saying, hey, we found this company that you couldn't find on GSA Advantage. Here's the information you needed and here's our website that helped us find it for you. So that's certainly an avenue we were looking at. Yes, sir.
How do you make money?
Excellent question. Thank you so much.
We would make the commercial model for this is, first we naturally build a user base. And from there we would have the option to either sell advertisement space on the website or to promote specific results. For example, if Boeing wanted to show up very well for specific searches that are performed on the search engine, then they may have the opportunity to show up very well on the search results.
We're able to have an AdWords style advertising right on the Google search tool that we're using. Yeah. So that's one of the ways. Yes, in the blue.
Formal recognition. A lot of government agencies are required to use specific GSA type applications and services. What do you do to get approved on that access?
I'm sorry, what do we do to?
In order to be approved, a lot of agencies are going to be required to go specifically to GSA Advantage. Period.
Yep.
In Block U, how do you get the approval for them to use you and stuff?
So from the research that we've done and the people that we've talked to that are contracting specialists, there are some other external tools that have existed in the past and no longer exist, which are similar to what this search engine does. It doesn't have the same kind of capabilities that this does, but you can actually go to google.com and try to search for prices within a specific site. So there are a lot of contracting specialists that have already used external tools, and through the specialists that we know that do the contracting work, we have gotten a good number of users already to this site, so we're pretty confident that there isn't any kind of issue as far as legal.
Well,
Yeah,
the other thing is too is that's why we're considering the political route too, is actually getting people within the government to try to get, especially with an election year, maybe we can kind of capitalize on that. And that's kind of why we kind of ran the taxpayer angle of some of our PR to see if that can get kind of picked up and kind of run with from the political angle as well, to kind of have it maybe initiated from within. As it's one of the ideas we're bouncing around.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys. Okay, so far we've had people who are building a new method of transport and people talking about government contracts. I think we're about to combine both of them with SkySpecs. You guys want to come get set up? While they're getting set up, next month for A2NewTech, we're considering doing a slightly different format where instead of having individual companies come up and do their pitch, we're thinking about getting a panel of 4 or 5 experts on a particular topic to answer the audience questions and also have a moderator ask them specific questions. Something surrounding startups. We're thinking about maybe talking about how to price your application or price your software, or maybe something on like how to do marketing or how to do distribution channels. Are any of those topics in particular of interest to people in this crowd? Or do you have suggestions for other topics you'd like to see? I guess hands for pricing. Who'd like to hear more about how startups price their product? Okay, small handful. What about marketing, getting people to know about your product? Who would like to hear more about that sort of thing? All right, both those things sound interesting. I don't know that there's a clear winner. Please, after all the presentations, if you have other ideas, come let me know. Okay, and so up next is SkySpecs. I believe we have Danny and Tom. Okay, sweet. Oh, awesome. Yeah, thanks, you guys.
Good evening, everyone. We are SkySpecs. My name is Danny Ellis, and this is Tom Brady. And we are 2 students here at the University of Michigan. And unlike some of the people who've already presented, we are actually just recently founded about 6 weeks ago. So we are a very young company. And our goal is to advance UAV technology in the civilian market. UAVs are typically known in military, but we're trying to bring that to the civilian realm, and we feel there are a lot of applications. Starting here, law enforcement, surveillance, aerial photography, disaster relief, and structural inspection. And we want to attack the structural inspection side of things. So you may know about the Minneapolis bridge collapse that happened back in 2007. So taking a look at these pictures here, this bridge had not been inspected in 15 months, primarily because the cost of it is too high. They couldn't do it frequently because of that, and it's just very dangerous to put people under the bridge and kind of block traffic and do all of that. And the failure that you see here, it's kind of hard to see in this picture on the projector, but the gussets were physically buckled, and it was very easy to see in the inspection after the collapse. Had this been seen earlier, this may have been prevented, and if we could provide a way to do inspections more frequently, this might be possible. Other customers that we've been talking to, Michigan Department of Transportation, I spoke with them last night actually, with the administrator of all bridge inspections in Michigan. And they were basically saying that inspections are entirely too costly right now, and they're not getting the data that they want. You may not believe it, but all they do is they put a person in a bucket, go below the bridge, take some pictures with a camera. What we want to do is we want to do a much wider range of data acquisition to provide the inspectors with a way to look at stuff much closer, much more frequent, and be able to prevent any sort of failure long before it happens. Other customers we're looking at are Disney World. We've spoken with them. We're actually going down there in 3 weeks to meet with them to do full model reconstruction of all of their attractions for both safety and renovation purposes. And we've spoken with firms in the state of Ohio for any sort of sewer inspection. Our vehicle is actually designed to fly in tight spaces, and we want to be able to fly full lengths of sewers and do a full model reconstruction of the sewer systems to look for failures there, as opposed to sending a person walking down through the sewer taking pictures. So what we're going to look at here is structural inspection. It's incredibly dangerous, especially in areas of way high up in a cherry picker or hanging over a bridge. And there have been recent deaths, most recently from my knowledge here in around Michigan, is off the Ambassador Bridge going to Canada. They had an inspector fall there and he died. And so we want to try to prevent these dangers. It's also very costly, doesn't happen very frequently. It's a public inconvenience, incredibly time consuming, and the quality is just very low. It's pretty much an engineer writing down something and taking some snapshots, and they don't really keep track of that over time. There are a lot of things that were noticed years ago that got forgot about. We want to be able to provide data that you can easily look at over time. So what we want to do is develop a small UAV, which Tom is holding here. It does fly. We will not be flying it tonight, unfortunately, but it does fly. And we want to make it lightweight and modular and carry pretty much any sensor that you want. On the right here is a full 3D reconstruction that we're showing, and we want to provide data like this in addition to full HD video and any other sensors that inspectors want on all of the different infrastructure, and be able to compare it over time and look at it and kind of see the macroscopic changes tied along with a lot of the microscopic changes with other sensor packages that we will put on board. The benefits of this is it's much safer, much easier to do. It's half the price of the current method, if not cheaper, once we perfect it. We can increase the inspection frequency from once every 15 months, once every 18 months, to once a month or once every 3 months, and look at stuff a lot closer. We can have higher quality data, we can have versatile sensor options, and it is not obstructive to everyday life. We spoke with someone today that was actually doing inspections of the bridge at the Detroit Metro Airport, the bridge that the planes taxi over as you're driving into the airport. They could only work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and they had to shut down half the lanes in order to do their inspection up underside the bridge. With this, you would not have to shut down the lanes. You could work 7 days a week, perform that inspection as necessary, and not cause a hassle to people that are already, hassled by going to the airport to begin with. So our team is originated from the Michigan Autonomous Aerial Vehicle Team. A little bit of background on us. Tom and I founded this team. It's a student competition team about 3 years ago. This vehicle in Tom's hand is designed to go to the International Aerial Robotics Competition this July and August and compete there. We have assembled the core of this team and grown into SkySpecs, and we'll still want that team to stay at the university. It's going to be 2 separate entities, but we will be using similar technology that we have developed here at the university to go perform these structural inspections and whatever other civilian UAV market may come about after that. So real quick, like I said, my name is Danny. My background is a master's in aerospace and robotics and kind of systems engineering. Tom's background also aerospace and robotics, and he focuses on controls. And our third member, who's in Chicago right now, is Sam, and he's an electrical engineer, PhD. And so these are the 3 founding members, but we do have a core group of engineers that are working below us, kind of as interns right now because they are still students, but we're going to grow from there. So real quick, what's next? Looking to advance technology, do on-site demonstrations, build a customer base, and we're looking to acquire a little bit more funding through grants, angel investors, and the like that. So anyway, thanks for listening. We are SkySpecs. Any questions? Yes?
What's your business model? Do you want to sell UAVs?
Yeah. So I was going to get into that last slide. I kind of ran out of time here. The business model in the phase 1 of what we're calling it is to actually sell a service and kind of go and do the inspection and collect the data and provide them with the data. We do not want to be in the position to certify it, but we do want to be providing the data, especially because this is handmade right now and we have not geared towards mass production. But phase 1 is that. Tom, you want to talk about the next phases?
Phase 2 would be selling both the products and the license. We would basically sell this product to companies that are already doing structural inspections, and they would use our software to provide a better inspection that is more efficient and more cost effective for their clientele.
What kind of fly time do you have with the vehicle? Obviously, it's arbitrary to the weight or the
Right.
sensors that you have. And also, would it just be still pics or would it be stream?